His speeches were algorithmically tuned to bypass the limbic system and trigger submissive neuroreceptors. We called him Dictator 47, but not aloud. To the public, he was President Elijah Weyer, 47th and final President of the United States of Harmony. He never yelled. He never threatened. He didn't have to. He offered us permission to relax, to obey, to forget, and we took it. For what really happened. They say democracy died in 2047, but that's not true. It died long before that. Maybe in 2035, when the last independent news outlet was bought by a streaming platform, or in 2039, when biometric voting replaced paper ballots, and no one noticed that their choices started to vanish. Maybe it was 2042, when the new AI voting assistant began issuing suggested alignments based on your browsing history, mood, and resting heart rate. You're feeling anxious. Candidate 47's platform emphasizes security and peace. Would you like to proceed with your recommended vote? And we said, yes. We always said yes, because saying no required knowing what you stood for, and most of us had forgotten. We were raised by glowing rectangles. We thought truth was whatever trended. We thought memory was a glitch, and history was negotiable. My name is not important. I could give you my real name, but it was deleted 3 months ago. I woke up to find my citizen file marked with an error. Unstable harmonic resonance detected. Subject archived. I became unmentionable, unreachable, a ghost. But before that, I was a teacher, a father, a veteran. I wore the flag once, not the digital one that flickers across the unity grid, but the real one, cotton, thread, weather-worn, touched by blood and hope. I watched my daughter cry when her school stopped teaching the Gettysburg Address and replaced it with the Harmony Oath. I watched her flinch when she said it, because it didn't sound like America. It sounded like a cage. One people, one voice, one future. She asked me, Dad, is the future a prison? And I didn't have the courage to answer her. 6. Why I am writing. This book is not a resistance manual. It is not a call to arms. It's a memory. Nothing more, nothing less. Because the greatest crime wasn't what they did to our bodies, our elections, or our Constitution. The greatest crime was what they did to our remembrance. They turned memory into malware. They made us afraid to know. To remember was an act of violence. To speak of what came before was labeled temporal disharmony. People were disappeared for remembering the smell of paper ballots, for describing what a protest looked like before drones patrolled the skies, for quoting James Baldwin, for quoting Maya Angelou, for quoting a grandmother. All it took was a whisper, a flicker, a facial microexpression, and you were flagged. Emotional contagion risk. Re-education required. So now, before I vanish for good, I write this, because someone, somewhere, might still be able to read it, because memory is the only resistance that can survive a perfect lie. 7. What this book contains. This is the true story of what happened between April 28th and May 3rd, 2047. It contains the last real election and the algorithm that counted us out, the activation of Project Godseed, the erasure of the United States Congress, not metaphorically, but literally, the creation of the memory vaults, and the counterseed that was buried in Arlington beneath the ash of forgotten soldiers. The people who tried to stop it, a deaf interpreter, a street poet, a disarmed veteran, a former ethics professor turned medic, and a young woman named Nova Castillo, whose memory carries the last shard of what it means to choose. It will not be an easy story. It will hurt, because what was done to us was not done in anger. It was done in love.